and I prayed about it, and I was like, if this happens one more time, I know it's not for me. So growing up, I grew up in a Baptist church, and I always had like these questions like that I didn't quite understand until one day I had met this friend at work, and he was really nice, and I like had gotten candy from like one of my sisters or something like that, and I was just passing out, and I was like, hey Noah, would you like a piece of coffee candy? And he was like, actually no. I was like, oh, okay, why is that? And he went into detail kind of like about the word of wisdom, and that kind of stuck with me. Like, I felt really bad because I didn't want to ever cross anybody with their religion, and so I started asking questions. And so for a little while I was asking him questions like about his church and just little things here and there. And then one day he invited me to the YSA Christmas party. While I was at the Christmas party talking to Sister Welty, we were just having fun. She asked if Rachel and I wanted to go out to lunch with her and like do a small like lesson or just get to know each other, and it made me feel really good, so I accepted, and we went to lunch, and it was pretty good. We had a lot of fun, and she asked if we wanted to continue with our lessons, and I said yeah, for sure. So after that we had like planned a lesson, and then that lesson got canceled, and then so we planned another lesson, and then that lesson got canceled, and I think this went on about like 3 or 4 more times. And at that point I was like, oh, maybe this is not the thing for me. And I was really like kind of upset about it, but like, oh, this isn't right. And I went home and I prayed about it, and I was like, if this happens one more time, I know it's not for me. And like, I think later that night or the next day or so, we had scheduled another lesson, and guess what? That did not get canceled. Going to that lesson, I was like, oh, okay, this isn't canceled or whatever. Sister Lurch was reading me from Joseph Smith's own words about when he looked up into the pillar of light and he saw both the Father and the Son. I was like thinking, oh, okay then. And I was like tearing up, and it felt so good because that's how I imagined it growing up. I didn't really understand the Trinity at all. How could the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit like all be one, one thing? And then so like she was saying that, she was reading it. It was like really intense moment, and she was like looking into my eyes, I was like looking into her eyes, and it was like, yeah, I know this is the truth. And then later on at the end of our lesson, they were like invited me, like if I believed that it was true, if I would be baptized. It's like, oh, I don't know about that. I'll have to think on it. And I remember going home thinking, okay, this is the truth, and I feel it, and I can't deny the truth. Growing up, I don't think I've ever felt the Spirit until that first lesson over the Restoration, when Sister Lurch was reading me that story of Joseph Smith. It felt so good, and it just like, it kind of like made me cry. I don't know, it showed His way through me, but it felt really good. The Book of Mormon is true, and I'm not saying you have to read it, but just like think on the fact that there's something in there for you. And just open it up to anything. Just pray about it, and I'm sure God will give you an answer. I mean, the Book of Mormon has changed my life. I've learned about the atonement of Jesus Christ. I've learned about repenting, and I feel like I've changed spiritually as a person, and it's done so much for me, and it could do so much for others as well. First things I noticed about the church was like how loving everybody is. But I came here, and one of the first things I noticed is that everybody can get a chance to talk if they want to and bear their testimonies, and I don't know, it's filled with love, and there's a spot for everybody in the church. So what it means to me to have a living prophet is like, we have someone here to guide us now. Like back then with the prophets, like God gave them somebody that could speak for Him to them. And the thing that's another thing I never understood is everything was the same back then as it is now. So why should they deserve prophets and us not, Like everybody needs to hear from God. We all need to know, Even though you feel like it's hard now, and you don't feel like everybody's on your side, the Book of Mormon clears up a lot of like confusing things. it all gets easier. It like all kind of flows in together and like fits like puzzle pieces. And there's always people here for you, like the missionaries. This church is full of fellowship, but it always gets better, and there's always someone here for you.